Ooh, this meeting is being live streamed. Okay.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Patsy Ferguson. I'm the editor-in-chief of Fourth Wave. We are an international feminist magazine on Medium with 58,000 followers there. And oh, why is that? I'm sorry, I hear a doubling. Hold on. Ferguson, I'm the editor. Okay, sorry. It automatically opens on my browser,
Oh,
and so then it doubles. And I thought I had prevented that, but no. Okay, so look for us on Medium. Medium, if you don't know, is a platform where you pay $5 a month and you get access to writers and stories from all over the world. And the people participating in this live stream publish on Fourth Wave, among other places. So you can find us there. You can read our stories. You can support this endeavor. Also, please subscribe if you like the conversation because that helps us get the word out. I'm going to start by asking our participants to introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Muniba and I am from Pakistan. I am principal editor of Fourth Wave and I am very, very happy to be here because of all this chaos in this world and everything. This live streams is example that we women don't want this. We don't want war. We don't want anything. We want safe world for us and for our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
I'm Nima Joseph. I'm a new writer for the Fourth Wave, and I essentially joined for the same reason. There's just so much like hatred, and like everyone is trying to put us back in the cage from like ages ago, right when we just got our rights, essentially. So that's why I'm here, and I like want to participate more with the publication in these live streams. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. It's very meaningful to us, particularly because our host, Uwanah, is not here. And so we're starting off kind of on the wrong foot a little bit. Uwanah is in Nigeria, and you never know. Sometimes there's a electrical outage, sometimes the network goes down. I don't know the reason she hasn't communicated, but I didn't really prepare to host, but I am hosting because she isn't here. Um, the topic she chose was who really holds the keys to the patriarchy, and it was inspired by a story on Fourth Wave called "The Bars of My Cage Are Polished to Look Like Jewelry." And that was written by a woman in Southeast Asia, and it included a a video of a pop song which was very catchy, where the girl talks about all these ways you're supposed to behave as a woman, and they involved not eating, being vulnerable, making yourself cute, making yourself weak, making yourself vulnerable, and appealing, using these things to appeal to men and also to compete with other women. And so it was a very good story. I would recommend reading it. Um, and in doing some research afterwards, I kind of looked and I watched the pop video, which I can, after this is over, I'll link to the story. In fact, there is a link to the story in the announcement of today's topic if you want to look at it. But I did some research and I was surprised to hear that, for example, in China, it's illegal to be a feminist. It's against the law to be a feminist. So I constantly learn new things on this live stream about what it's like to be a woman living in other countries besides the United States. And I see the connection, how one thing, when women are oppressed in Afghanistan, it it lowers the power and the status and the independence of women everywhere. It shows that that's possible, that's no one's having any accountability for that. No one's forcing Afghanistan to stop the gender apartheid there. So other countries go, oh, well, why don't we tell women they have to stay home? Why don't we tell women they have to have babies so they can't have abortions? They can't have contraception. So, anyway, that's where I'm coming from. Um, Let me just open the conversation to see if you read that story, how it. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Sangeeta, because hello. Guess what? Our host didn't show up, and so we're kind of winging it here. I know you're good at winging it, so you're going to help keep the conversation alive here.
Good.
But we're focused on a story that was called "The Bars of My Cage Are Polished to Look Like Jewelry," and it talks about how women uphold the patriarchy by policing other women and forcing them to behave in ways that are advertised as the natural feminine way, but are in fact imposed on women. And so I'd like to ask maybe our guest first, Nima, what if you have any thoughts on that topic? I know you have been researching toxic femininity. What does that mean to you? How does it relate to this idea?
So when I read that article this weekend, a lot of it like reminded me of like the research I was doing. Because like the key thing I started with is like a gilded cage is still a cage. And there's been this resurgence of people on the internet trying to coach others on how to be feminine, on how to like connect with your divine femininity. And a lot of the talk, like some of the things they say, it sounds reasonable. Like you should have your own hobbies. You should be going out and making friends and doing all of this. But at the end, the pursuit is so you be more interesting for a man. Like you have this hobby, like you connect with your divine feminine, and then the masculine energy will take care of you. And these are women with like 700,000 followers, like millions of followers and likes. And they're just teaching this to like young women. They have series on it. They have like coaching available for people to pay for so that they can learn how to be more feminine and get like a masculine provider. It's sad. Yeah.
Very sad. How about you, Muniba? What do you think of all this?
South Asia or my country is like full of this. There are no there is no content creators, but there is always one female version in every home that they tell us that behave like this, you should behave like that. So some prince charming will come and marry you. If you did this, then no one is going to marry you. This is very um, like recently, one my auntie, she said, my daughter, she is 5.5 months old, and her head is like little wild like this. So, and she have no hair. So she said, what are you doing? Keep rocks here. So our skull will be like,
Oh my God.
and I was like, why? This is like normal thing. When she start crawling and everything, it will come to place and everything. And she said, no, no one will marry her if her head is like this. I said, what are you saying?
At 5 months, that's crazy.
She's baby.
Like, she is only 5 months, and everyone is telling me that no one is going to marry her. So,
Oh,
and women and women like like please understand this, that uh, this is already very difficult time for every women, and in these areas where war is going on and everything, and thinking about this short things or this type of silly things, please don't make other women life difficult. It already is. And so yes, it is not about content creator, but every home in South Asia there is person like this
well,
present.
that sounds like what the author of the Cage story talked about as environment gaslighting. So the environment that's created becomes the reality, and it teaches you this is how women should be, this is how women are, but it's not true if you naturally allow, what anything to develop the traits and the bodies of women to develop naturally. They're not weak and they're not submissive and they're not having perfectly shaped heads and they're not, all those things that we're taught to pursue, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
What are
It's
you
like,
thinking?
oh, sorry. I was like,
Oh no, go
it's
ahead.
like so sad because my older sister has a slightly bigger forehead. And a lot of our family members were like, you should get bangs. Like, you really look better when you had bangs. Like, it's more attractive. And I'm like, it's her forehead. Like, if she wants to have her forehead out, leave her alone. It's like this policing from everyone to be more attractive so that you can find a man.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I feel like I have some perspective on the entire discussion. It's kind of like if you were ever in a high school that had like a prefecture, which is you have prefects, you have like a head girl and a head boy and a bunch of other people. It's kind of like blaming the school system on a prefect when we are bringing up, yes, when women talk about these things, it is kind of cruel. And this cruelty also comes from this understanding of, oh, I'm older than you. I have had more experience. I have had a husband, and now I can tell you what to do to get a husband because that is the only way that you're going to make your way through life. This isn't true for us anymore. But again, when we start to critique women in a vacuum who talk about these things, we kind of 180 to misogyny anyway. And I'm not really going to say that you have to support all women, but at the same time, nuance is so important because a lot of the critique that you guys mentioned from other women is also critique I have gotten from men. I've gotten that critique about the head and the body and stuff. I got that from my father. He was my first biggest hater. And
Oh my
he's not
God.
going to be watching this, but like, love you. And what I really feel is it's just, it's harder for us to stomach, obviously, because we hate to imagine that another woman doesn't see our plight. She probably does. And she thinks she's doing this to protect you because everything women do ultimately is protective. Even things like ensure that everybody knows you're married. Ensure that your diamond, I'm not wearing my ring, but your diamond is a big diamond. That was something that my mother had told me is literally because, oh, if a man sees that you have a diamond on your hand, then he might not want to attack you. But we're still kind of okay, but so what? If I get attacked because I have a small diamond, it's because my husband doesn't want to buy me a big diamond, or is it because men do bad things? When do we go back and blame it on the source? That's that's kind of what I take away from it. But I kind of find it so interesting also the analogy of the gilded cage and wearing your what's it called? Your oppression as jewelry, because it's also literal in South Asia. We literally have things, for example, like chure, or we have these specific bangles that women wear all the way up to here, all the way up their arm, for about, I really want to say up to 6 months. And they're made
After
of
marriage.
yes,
After
after
marriage.
marriage, because
Yeah.
you need to show people that you're
That,
married.
yeah.
Because if you're married, you're protected. That's a kind of protection. But it's also, women are so excited to buy this stuff because they're like, oh my God, pretty bangle. This is the first time I'm ever going to get to wear it because no one who's not married is allowed to wear it. Like your mother will yell at you if you want to wear this bangle. And it's so unique because all women are taught to see these things as a rite of passage, not really thinking to themselves, Jesus Christ, this is the most uncomfortable cuffs that I've put on my body. Same thing with when the Chinese were still doing foot binding. And women were teaching their own daughters how to do their own feet because no man's going to help you to do it, but you're doing it for a man. Yes, we can critique a mother teaching that to her daughter, but why would she do it if men were not trying to get that in their wives to begin with? Or if men were not attacking women for not having those traits, for not looking a certain way? And I feel like everything kind of goes back to if men stopped, we wouldn't have this problem. And I kind of hate to do that because I know we're supposed to talk about how women contribute. And of course, I am so game for that conversation. But it's just it becomes a slippery slope because when I see someone like a Shira Seven, for example, she is one of those creators who talks about um this sprinkle sprinkle, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think she's hilarious. First of all, she is such a kind of great orator, but at the same time, you can tell that this is someone who's speaking out of trauma, someone who's speaking out of being taken for granted, being treated badly, and is essentially saying this is how you can stop yourself from being treated badly if you just don't have emotions about it anymore. All of these women who are doing this, who are upholding the patriarchy, are not actually upholding it. They are teaching you how to survive it. And it's a very different perspective than what everybody else brings up. And I know it kind of sounds like choice feminism, but it's not really. Like, what you're trying to do is get through this, get through whatever's already oppressing you in the best way possible. If it means you have to be smaller, I'm a big person, I'm a fat woman. If you have to be smaller, be it. If you have to, well, with the baby's head is kind of crazy. She's gonna have hair someday. You're not gonna be able to see that. I have a strangely shaped head as well. My mom used to hold me weird. And so you're not really gonna see it. But even those kinds of things, there is a sense of protection. When men ask for those things, though, they're not asking because they care about you. They're asking because that's what they want to see. They don't want to see something they're not attracted to. They don't want to listen to someone they're not attracted to. They don't want to be around someone who doesn't make them comfortable in their masculinity, right? So I feel like the way that women come at these patriarchal structures is so different than the way men come. When a man is attacking you in the comment section, calling you fat or alone or unmarried or no one's gonna want you, he's doing that because that is something that women have been conditioned to protect themselves against. You want to protect yourself against this whole cat lady thing. You want to protect yourself against being alone, dying alone, having no community. You want to protect yourself against that. And to a man, that is your Achilles heel. It's not really. We don't care anymore. A lot of us have better relationships with women than we do with men, and we're very happy with those relationships. Some of us are married, and we're very lucky to have good husbands or wives, whatever, you choose. But I feel like whenever as we continue, I would love to, if I think of any examples, I would love to also bring up examples of where a woman has actively fought back against the patriarchy as well. Even if it's the smallest thing, even if it was just like someone told you to lose weight. And then, because I remember my mother did this for me when I was really young. I had a bunch of boys make fun of me. I was always a big girl. So I had a bunch of guys make fun of me for being a big girl. And then one of the guys was bigger than me. And now my mother is not like, if I'm a big speaker, she is much worse than me, and she does not mince her words. So, in not so many words, she called him a fat dog and told him to mind his own business and she can take care of her own daughter. And it was the first time I ever thought to myself, oh, I don't need to be sorry for being fat so long as I am healthy. And if someone says something to me, I can say something back. It's not going to cost me anything. So I would love to also hear those examples. Of course, I don't want to derail from the topic, but yeah, like I am so interested in where we can go with that.
I love that idea. But also let me add, Sangeeta, can you introduce yourself? Because I
Oh,
forgot to get that
sorry.
from you. That's
Oh,
okay. I didn't ask you before.
no, I'm sorry. I probably should have done that on my own. Hello, my name is Sangeeta. I am an Indian. I was born and raised in the Middle East, and I currently live in Italy. So I write for Medium and for Fourth Wave specifically, and I tend to look at all my stories and I look at everything from a very second generation immigrant perspective. Yeah.
Wonderful. We're so glad to have you. And I also want to mention that um, I did invite the author of The Bars of My Cage Are Polished to Look Like Jewelry to participate via chat. And I don't know if she will, but I have a difficult time seeing the chat. So, because I had, if anyone else can monitor the chat, that would be great if you all can. If there's anyone saying anything in the chat
On Zoom.
and
On
on
YouTube, right?
on YouTube, on
Yeah.
Yeah.
YouTube, then if you would read it out. I don't know if she's there or not,
There is
but
a hi from beneath her silence. Is that the
okay.
author?
That's no, the author should be Jules Vela, but you never know um, if people have different names on YouTube than they have on Medium.
Oh yeah.
So, aha, it is her, I think. I do see it
Yeah,
now.
I
Hi,
am
I am
here.
here.
Okay, good. Well, I have to say, this author, hi, I am seeing it now. This author, I invited her to come, and she said, I can't come because I can't show my face because my country, you know, it's not allowed really. So, anyway, I said, can you just speak and not show your face? No, I can't speak because voice recognition. So I'm just, all this is sort of blowing my mind. I'm like, oh, well, can you text? And she said yes. And so if you have anything to say beneath her silence, go ahead and type it and we'll read it out. Um, so she's here in some form or another. But yeah, I was intrigued by what you
Uh,
said. since we don't have our scheduled host, we can go wherever we want with this. What do
Yes,
you think?
about I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so what Sangeeta said, I want to add something that not every woman uh, is protecting you, not even not your own mother. Sometime I have very big examples uh, of my own cousin. She was yes, she was very badly bitten by her mother because of only this thing that she didn't bring food to her brother, only because brother is head of family, she is not, and mother is doing this, and she was all bruised, like her eyes were like this, and she was blue, like everything in her body was blue. And my father, we lived in joint family at that time, so my father rushed to her, and he literally, if he was not there at that time, I don't know if maybe she will be dead or something. So not every woman is there to protect you. She was not protecting her. She was telling her that man is head of family. If you don't bring him food, you this beating and this thing is justified. So this is not. This thing is not justified. Like no one, like you are your own person. Like previously I said that I wanted a baby boy when I was pregnant, not because that I because of this, but because I want to tell everyone that how can, like I want, like when I, this was all my imagination, that when he have baby sister, I'm going to tell him, go and bring water to her, go bring water to your sisters. So I want him to say that, go wash utensils, and or go clean the room, because only this short things here in my society women are beaten, like people are beating them when she don't do these things for a man. So no, not every woman is protecting them. They are like my auntie said, she have big head, or I don't want her to think about it, that she is justified to think that any man can say that you have big head, and she said, oh, so what? I want her to think like this, not like, oh, I'm like, what is this and that. So no, I don't think that every woman is protecting other women. So
I was I remember you saying also that your father is a feminist of sorts and your husband is a feminist of sorts,
yes,
but compared to the society you live in. So
yes,
for example, her mother would bring the big piece of chicken and try and give it only to the brother, and the father would say, "No, if we're having chicken, everybody's having chicken, not just the brother, not just the men."
Yeah.
So yeah, and um, you know, we women are doing that because they're socialized or they're brainwashed or whatever. I mean, I'm not trying to take the accountability away from men, but I'm trying to wake women up. I mean, I'm also reminded. I didn't when I first heard about the 4B movement in Korea, in South Korea, which is women who are saying no babies, no dating, no sex, no marriage. They just are not going to participate because they are treated so badly. And I remember mentioning this to my to a friend who was like, "What are you talking about? Women have everything already. Feminism is over. We don't need it. You have all your rights, you know." But when you look into that, the book that is credited with inspiring that movement, you recognize that women in Korea and in different extents in every country are are prejudiced against, are discriminated against from before birth, like people from the womb. So in the womb, if it's a girl, abort it. If it's a girl in, certain countries, they're aborted. And then once she's a little girl, if she gets the worst food at the table, the bad dumpling was in the brother gets the good dumpling and the sister who's serving gets whatever's left over. And then as they grow up, they get low wages. They don't get the money to go to school. I remember, and then when they get a job, they get low wages. Then when they have a baby, they're supposed to quit to take care of the baby. Then they can't come back in and get the good wages again, and etc. There's just no place where they're treated on par with men throughout their lives. And I had another thought, and it just ran through my head. I'm sorry, I'm having but it was anyway, it'll come back to me. Sorry.
Um,
She's saying something that Sangeeta, can you watch that author from Cage?
Yes, she said hi Patsy, Naima, Muniba and Sangeeta, and then she said she's a stand no th that a stand-up comedian. I think her name is Xiaopa. I hope I'm pronouncing that okay. Was banned from Weibo after posting I'd be lying at home with a fever for 2 days, thinking about how I would be cooking for my husband and kids right now if I had one, which was deemed to be promoting fear of marriage and anxiety about childbirth, violating platform rules. She lost all her jobs and was effectively blacklisted.
Oh my God.
was she wrong though?
No, she
Like,
probably wasn't.
oh
She
my
probably
God.
wasn't.
Like,
Yeah,
That, that's an
and
interesting story.
that is an interesting story. And I want to say after I read the story about conditions in um, East Asia, I'm still learning to say East Asia, Southeast Asia, which is new for me. But um, I watched something about China, which was quite interesting, which explained why currently they are very strongly asking people to have babies. And that's happening in a lot of countries where they're trying to promote women having babies. And what this person said, who seemed knowledgeable, was that as countries get wealthier, they have fewer children. And that happens for a variety of reasons, which he didn't go into because it wasn't the topic. But just trust that as a society gets wealthier and more economically stable, they have fewer babies. And that presents a problem, they believe, in the future, because then you're going to have more old people than young people to take care of the old people. So that's the fear. And that's what Elon Musk is talking about when he says everybody should have 10 babies because otherwise the world's going to collapse. And that's part of the motivation of taking away abortion, I believe. And, they're threatening to take away contraception. And in the United States, they are trying to take away the vote from women with this Save America Act, which makes it a requirement to register to vote. You have to present a current ID with the same name that's on your birth certificate. yet 8 out of 10 married women changed their names. So it's going to
Mm.
be hard for them. If they want to register to vote, they have to go get their birth certificate, their marriage certificate, their current ID, and go prove that. And all that takes time, takes months, takes money, costs money to order those things. And you're not going to do it in time. And then, blah, blah, blah. So people believe it will effectively disenfranchise possibly 69 million women. And why would they want to do that? Because women skew Democratic, because women believe in social welfare, education, healthcare, all these social safety net programs, whereas the GOP believes in tax breaks for billionaires so they can have more money. So they don't want to spend it on us. They want to spend it on war, or because then they can sell, like you may have heard that the Trump family is now involved in a drone company. And so they want to, they're making money off war. As war is a racket, it's always a racket. Somebody's making money. Somebody is making money. And or playing a power trip. So anyway, I'm sorry to get off topic, but I forget how it was related. It was related in the beginning, but anyway, let me give up the floor here while I let my brain catch up.
I was gonna agree with both what Muniba said and Sangeeta on like how like the previous generation, like the patriarchy is so ingrained in the way that they were raised that they are trying to protect us. Or if like they don't like like the beating story, it's like there's this anger that like they've been containing for so long. And in their head, they're like, obviously the boy is the most important. And I can take that anger out on my daughter or like the other girl that didn't do the thing that I would have been forced to do. And I think like a lot of it is just like the way we were raised. And it's so sad to like I don't want to do that to like if I had a little sister, I wouldn't want her to grow up like that. But it's the same thing as like if something bad is happening to you in like an alleyway, scream fire. Don't scream rape because like nobody's gonna
No
care.
one's gonna help you.
Like, but a fire, everyone is affected by it. Like, it's just it's a dark world. It's a sad, sad, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, relaying back to some of the points that we've had so far, I think we had this discussion when Suma was on one of our live streams. I don't know if you all remember, but we were talking about how a lot of women who are in these oppressive societies do, yes, exact their pent-up rage, because of course women are not supposed to show rage. You can show happiness, you can show gratitude is one that we're allowed to show. We're not allowed to show rage. And so I remember when we were talking about this, we were talking about also how a lot of the time there is almost a class struggle, especially in parts of South Asia where you have lower class women also acting as servants or maids or just being part of your household as hired help rather than actually as a part of your household. But it is so common in in these cultures, including where I come from in India, to be kind of reprehensible almost to your domestic help, because at the end of the day you're going to get yelled at by your husband for this not being done properly. And if she is the cause of that, you want to not get yelled at, so you're going to take that out on him, on her, whoever is your kind of lower class domestic help. And it's almost like a cycle of abuse. Obviously, none of these people who do the abuse should ever be exempted or told, oh, because you have trauma. Like I said before, there are a lot of people who are out there who are talking about these things who have trauma. Um, just because they have that trauma doesn't mean that they are what do you call it, exempted or excused from doing this kind of behavior. But at the same time, it still is a part of a big branch of patriarchy. It's still a part of this massive problem where when we start to talk about individual experiences, like I can always say, well, my dad was anti-feminist in every single way. To him, meeting my husband was the shock of his life. He never thought I would get married. Never thought of me Heathen, he thought of me as, oh, this woman is, no one's ever gonna. And then I was like, well, kind of the point. I mean, I didn't dye my hair this color, so you would accept me, and I don't wear red with it to be beautiful. I just do what I want and I get away with it because you do what you want and you get away with it. And the point really isn't even to do that gotcha moment that I just said. It's just everything is very defensive. If you think about the way that even these interpersonal relationships that women have with their daughters, they are wrought with this patriarchal understanding of because I had to do it, you have to do it, and everybody else has to do it. And also, if I don't know if it reminds anybody of this, but there was a point where someone had told me that there might be a possibility that the US is going to drop, for example, student debt. And then a bunch of people who had paid off their debt were up in arms. Do not drop
Yeah,
it. Don't you dare drop that debt. And the reason they're doing that, obviously, is because they did it the hard way. And we keep hearing that across generations, right? Oh, I had to do it the hard way. It was difficult for me. So it has to be difficult for you.
exactly.
And I feel like there's almost, especially when I look at the way that my parents kind of react to our reality, like me, my husband, people my age, they're almost like proud of us, obviously, for getting as far as we have, but also kind of resentful, almost angry that we got as far as we did while not necessarily having to suffer. I mean, of course, we did. Everybody has at some point suffered, but it's this resentful pent up rage that people carry from, let's just say, centuries of the same kind of behavior. We take it from generation to generation, where we keep taking this anger and putting it on our kids, and then teaching them, you still have to uphold the patriarchy. And it's like, I find it very difficult at this point, and I think I'm going to need your help from here. I find it very difficult to actually point out and come back to the question of who upholds it. Because in a way, we all do. In a way, we're all here because someone around us, including us, has upheld the patriarchy in some way. Maybe we didn't speak up for a colleague who was getting wrongfully terminated. Maybe we didn't speak up for the cousin who was getting beaten up. Maybe we didn't, whatever it was. The idea is we've all kind of done it. So how do we actually say, oh, this is the culprit outside of just this grand mass of patriarchy?
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, the system is the culprit, and we're all just trying to operate within the system.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
absolutely right. So I mean, we don't want to blame the individuals because they've been brainwashed, they've
But
been
we can.
socialized, but at the same time, they have to wake up. We have to shake them awake to
Exactly.
fight against it, to stop, to not pass that trauma on to the next generation, to not force
Uh,
women to feel what pain our daughters to suffer the same things we suffered, right?
Exactly.
yes. Uh, I I sent an email to influencer I love. She is mother of two. Uh, one daughter and son, but I sent her 2 emails, but she didn't reply. I don't know. She's influencer, so yes. So she was like abused by her own mother, but she said no, the abuse is stop here, and she is gentle parenting and everything to her daughter and son, and she is saying that I will never do these kind of things to my daughter or my son. So this abuse, I think only women can change this. Only women can. No man can do anything about it. If we want to change uh, this system, we are the powerful one. We have to, like, in my society, boys are told to be strong, independent, leaders. Girls are told to be obedient, quiet, responsible for home and family. Parents are saying this, grandparents are, relatives are, they are forcing some kind of expectations, like they are enforcing women to this, like if your ed is not perfect, you are nothing. But I think only mother can change this. Only, like Sangeeta, your mother was strong lady, that's why you are strong. Your father doesn't influence you, but your mother did. So I think this kind of thing is very important. So we are, if some women are holding patriarchy, we women can change this
I love
only.
I love that perspective, and I believe it's true. I think women are all powerful. I think telling us we're weak and submissive is gaslighting and BS. And the mother, of course, creates life, the mother shapes life. And, when children go off to school, the society also shapes them. But you have, as a mother, uh, a lot of power and a lot of influence over your children. And, I'm often surprised um, if I say something, my children take it much more seriously than I meant it, because they take me and they kind of multiply me by 10 or whatever. It seems like I have more influence than I understand, and I should pay attention to that. But I also want to say, Muniba, did you see someone in the comment is asking, why are Muslim women liaising with and interacting with Western European Eurogerman Nordics pagan women? I don't know what that word means. But anyway, do you feel like answering that question? You don't have to, but I thought it was interesting, an interesting
I don't
question.
know, I don't understand the question.
I guess I don't really
It is
understand.
it.
Uh,
Why are
what?
Muslim women? I
It's
don't get
just,
it.
why are you interacting with Western women, I guess, would be the basic question. And I want to point out that Sangeeta is also South Asian. So
Oh
we're
yeah,
not
I'm
all
Indian. I'm not, yes,
Western.
yeah. I'm not, because I assume when they say Eurogeman Nordics pagan women, I feel like this comment came up right when you and I were speaking directly to each other, me and Muniba.
Oh.
And so my assumption is they just mean like the pink-haired woman is probably pagan.
Oh.
I am Sikh, uh, by religion. So we're actually not that far off because half my family is from Pakistan. So,
Oh,
oops,
Oops.
we love each
oops.
other. That's why we are speaking to each other. We are not fighting or anything. So if this
How the
is
tables have turned.
it,
I love that answer though, Moni, but we love each other. That's why we're speaking to each other.
Yes,
We
we love
love each other and we love humankind, and we're trying to help establish a way that we can live comfortably with each other and support each other and help each other thrive. And, all the divisions
Yeah.
between East and West and
And
are
Western.
artificial, and between male and female, and between, you know, I just feel we love each other is a perfect answer. That's a perfect
Exactly.
answer.
Especially
Thank
like a question like that, I feel like the answer is, hey, we're women living in a patriarchal society. Like it's not all of the countries, like it's not that much different for us. Some are worse than others, but everyone is still trying to keep us down. Everyone's trying to take our rights away.
you.
So that's why we can all relate to each other.
I think
Absolutely.
I feel like gossip is a very good example of this because a lot of times it's just a imparting of information amongst each other. If I know what's going on in Pakistan and you know what's going on in Italy from me or the Middle East or something of that sort, and if I know what's going on in the US from the two of you, Nima and Patsy, we with that information becomes power, and we're able to use that potentially to better our lives or at least make informed choices about where we're going to go in the future. When we know that, for example, there is a war happening in Iran, which is so close to Pakistan, that it is affecting Pakistan and it's affecting the people there, then to talk about them, to give them a platform at the same time as also giving a platform to someone in the West who isn't complicit, but is getting very different news because the source is completely different. Like when you're in Pakistan, you're being tormented by what's happening in your neighbor's country. But when you're in the US, sometimes you don't even know that your country is doing it. And so when we talk to each other, this platform is a really unique way for all of us to know what's going on and have at least some level of concrete information. It's like we do have so much love and trust in one another that if we can just know how the other is doing, it gives us strength to go forward. Like these sessions I come to nearly every week, and I feel like the amount that I have learned just in the past few weeks of being here, I probably have not like obviously I read a lot of feminist literature, but it's just not the same as hearing from a person who's living that life, what it's like, right? Because I also really love, for example, Muniba's example for her father being the feminist. And so I actually feel like it's actually more beneficial if men are taking up that role because for a lot of women, unfortunately, they do end up becoming a single parent in a family where there is a husband, right? And you don't really want that for them. If you have men in the family as well who are stepping up, like Muniba said, her brother and father do, I feel like that significantly assists you with the rest of your life. Like you don't get cut off at uh, like at the ankles. You have something to walk on. You have something, a path to take. If you have, especially like I'm not trying to say that men are the only role models you can have. Absolutely not. I feel like for each other as women, we become each other's guiding light. We become each other's lighthouse. But I also believe that if my father, for example, and we were all women in my household, I had a few brothers, but they were half brothers. And so they weren't really that much of a part of our family at the time I was growing up. If he had that little bit of feminism, that little bit of wanting better for his daughters than just marriage, if he were that person, I would be I wouldn't say I would be further in my life. I just I wouldn't have spent so long having to unlearn what he had taught me. I feel like also with women who, as we all said, uphold the patriarchy or at least push its message, either by brute force or in calmer ways, just by telling us, oh, maybe you should change your hair. Oh, that's how you should do your makeup. The right and wrong of being beautiful, right? If you didn't need to unlearn that, imagine how much you could have achieved sooner in life. We would have moved sooner or not moved or gotten into better careers sooner without having to fight off our own conditioning, without having imposter syndrome. Like, I feel like something that plagues women constantly is this idea that maybe I'm not good enough or I'm not the right source for a message. Because either I am in a place where no one would really listen to me because no one in my house listens to me, or I am in a society where a woman who speaks is an undesirable part of society who should be cast out. You really have to go against that grain to simply just exist. And I feel like we don't deserve that as a people. We don't deserve that regardless of where we come from.
Definitely. And something I was thinking about when you mentioned the power of mothers and women to change and to stop upholding the patriarchy was another story we published, which I might invite her to come on. Magali Am wrote a story called "When the Forest Gaslights the Trees," or I forget, the tree gaslights the forest, something like that. But one statistic she had in there was that 85% of men are not rapists, are not misogynists, are not assaulters and harassers. And, we get this message that, oh, boys will be boys, and this is a masculine trait, and men are just like that, and that's how you have to forgive them or whatever. But that's not true. That's according to the statistic she cited, and I'd have to go back and see where she got it, but she said 85% of men disagree with that. Those people need to step up and they need to ostracize the bad men and say, no, that's not manly. That's not masculine. That's not how we behave. We don't accept that behavior. And that would bring us a long way forward if we had those kind of strong allies in men telling other men to stop the misbehavior, to stop the, Epstein type of behavior that these wealthy elite people are all ha ha ha, we can do what we want. We need people to say no, other men and women, to say no. That's perverted. That's not acceptable behavior. So anyway, I just wanted to add that we all need to work towards an equal society, and we will all benefit, including men. Men are taught that, oh, you're going to lose something if women gain something, but that isn't how it works. When everyone's healthy and everyone's thriving, the whole boat gets lifted, the whole community gets lifted. It's not that, in order for you to go up, I have to go down. That isn't true. And it's a basic lie that keeps us in this struggle. And I feel like the billionaires who just want more money, more money, more money, it's like they're crack addicts. It's like, why do you
Exactly.
want more money? You are
You
addicted.
can't spend it. Like you don't have enough years to spend it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I just read, for example, Trump is selling, he sent a newsletter out saying, uh, buy buy my updates on the war. Like, I'm going to keep you in the know about what's going on if you contribute. It's like he can't stop making money on anything and everything. And it's like, it's gross and it's demented.
Updates. Like, it's so dystopian. What does that even mean? Like, we're buying the president's updates on war crimes
Yeah,
he
he's
is
going to get us
committing.
into his secret circle of information, and his
Oh,
sons are buying into a drone company that's going to deliver the bombs, and then the government's going to hire that company, and then just it's just like a mushroom cloud of money accumulating to them at, while everyone else suffers. But anyway, I'm sorry, I keep going off on that because that's my the reality I'm living with. But I know the war has been affecting you in Pakistan. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I, even though it's off topic a little, but
Yes, it is affecting us because Iran gave us petrol, and now they are not giving us, and everything is extra expensive, like everything. Like it is Ramadan, and people come here, and they are from good family, like they are not very poor, but they are not very rich, and they are coming and asking for money to lend them money, and like everyone is suffering because only these crazy men are deciding that they want war. They want to, like like in this modern world, they think that war is solution. They are thinking that this war is not solution in this modern. Just sit like elders and talk to each other, and please think about children, think about women, think about all the young men who are forced to be soldiers, who are going just to have extra money for their family, and they are dying. The soldiers are dying. The people are dying, and they are like, what can I say? This is so sad that in this modern world we are doing this. I
and
don't know.
and you wrote a story recently. Maybe that could be your next topic after Eid. I know you're not going to be here next week.
And yes, there is betting going on. I was so shocked when I heard this. People are actually betting on this. They are saying, "Oh, today Iran is going to fire these type of drone, and this type of people are like, and US will doing this," and they are betting. There are apps promoting this.
we have the same things up here. People are also betting here. Yeah.
It's
I hate it.
disgusting.
I don't know.
It's
Yes,
it's
it is.
upsetting. Everything becomes an opportunity to make money. It's crazy. Um, but I also want to read a couple more things that that Beneath Her Silence has written in the comments. So she responded to Sangita, yes, we really need to share information and learn how different patriarchal societies are gaslighting women. Women really need to learn from other women, learn how to succeed, learn how to fail, but also how to get through the dark. Women really need to see each other and know that they are not forgotten outsiders. And Nima responded, you're good at that. Okay, I should have had you read these. Um, and focus on ourselves, says Beneath Her Silence. And I just want to second that. I feel like this live stream is tremendously informative to me. The news I get and consume is always professionals who have some kind of agenda or some kind of restriction. Their boss tells them you have to do it this way, not that way, or this is what people want to read, not that. Whereas to talk to actual women who don't have any filters like that or controls is much more valuable. And I love that we can connect this way across the world. And I thank you so much for being here, Muniba and Sangeeta and Nima also. Um, it's 10:12. I think we started about an hour ago, but does anyone want to make any last comments before we say goodbye?
This was really fun. I hope I can take part in other discussions. Like, I really enjoyed this.
Wonderful. We're so glad you came. Thank you so much. And
Thank
definitely you could come
you.
back. I'll put you on our list. Uh,
Yay.
and I'll send the link out to you every week. Come whenever you can.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
No, thank you. My babysitter is
Ready to
going,
go.
so I'm going.
Okay. All right. Sangeeta, thanks for coming, and I'll see you tomorrow,
Yes.
tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Sangeeta is going to become an editor at Fourth Wave, and
No.
we're excited about that. So we're going to talk more tomorrow.
I had
So
a question actually about the fourth
sure.
wave. Can I
Mhm.
submit short stories there, or is it just articles and poems?
No, we do publish fiction also, but I will say that we are primarily a social justice. I mean, our theme is social justice, and feminism.
I
So
have like the story specifically that I wrote that reminded me a lot about this discussion. That's why I thought of it.
I'd love to have it, and you're welcome to submit it, and we will publish it. But I must also just say there may be a better publication for short stories because we don't publish that many, in terms of eyeballs on the story. But hopefully you'll get a lot. I mean, we have 58,000 followers, so
Yeah.
yes, feel free. And thank everyone for coming. I hope you come back next week. And thank you, Beneath Her
Thank you.
Silence, for coming. And we'll see you next week. Happy eating.
Bye.
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 Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.